Hi everybody, I'm Kat and this is today's tarot. The first card that we have for today is the Ace of Wands. So if you imagine yourself with a wand or a staff in your hand, the sense within your body is an energy of excitement, an energy of new beginnings that is propelling you towards some idea or the conception of an idea. It's like some flint is getting cast on our spirit today and striking some fire within us that is excited for something new. The challenge that we have for today is the Nine of Pentacles. Now, in a normal reading, depending on the position this would show up in, it would mean a sense of financial attainment or material attainment. And so you would get a sense of leisure in your life. But because this is showing up as a challenge today, it's telling us that we are not moving toward what we feel like we need to move toward. Perhaps we're procrastinating a little bit, or we're resistant in some way. It's like, I have this list of things to do, so much to do, but I just don't have any energy or any real force within me to actually follow through with it. So it's this sense of laziness or kind of taking things for granted because we're like, yeah, I know I need to do that, but I just don't really feel like doing it right now. The way we're going to get through that challenge of, feeling this sense of almost lack of applying ourselves is the Devil card, actually. The Devil card is a major arcana. It's kind of an intense card. When you look at it, you can see this kind of donkey-like figure in the background that has horns coming out of its head, an upside-down star that has an image of the mountains behind it. There's some snakes kind of tickling his ear, and then in the foreground you see these two individuals that are bound with loose chains around their neck, and there's this wheel behind them that they're grabbing onto, which is speaking to this cyclical behavior that we have within ourselves that binds us to situations that aren't necessarily useful for us. And it's reminding us that in a lot of ways we can be our own worst limitation by how we see things, because we could see things in a different light than how they actually are. So this card coming in as a way that we're going to actually get through our challenge today is rather interesting because, while this is visually an intimidating card, it actually is calling us to respond to ourselves. It's bringing up what responsibility actually means. Like, what do we need to tend to? What is our life path? What do we feel really called to accomplish in our lives, and to put our gaze at that. What's interesting about this card is that it is governed by Saturn, which is rules over Capricorn. And so it's asking us to look at time and take account for time and where we want to put our time and our energy. And, it is the most precious thing we have, and we don't really know how much of it we ever really have. And so it's quite important for us to apply our heart and our light to the world as much as we possibly can. What's also interesting, at least in my point of view, and I am trying to share this with you guys because I think astrology is totally mind-blowing, but this card is almost out of my hands, is related to Capricorn, as I said. And right now in Capricorn we have Pluto, which is in retrograde around 24 degrees. And so Pluto has been sitting in this sign for a number of years, creating change and transformation in whatever house Capricorn is sitting in your chart. It's also creating a lot of change and transformation in the world and in our society on a global scale, because it's sitting in that sign of Capricorn, which is related to those subjects globally. Now, what's also interesting about that is that right now we have the sun in direct opposition to Pluto. It's at 23 degrees of Cancer, so they're 180 degrees apart. And when the sun is in Cancer, it has its energy, its fire of the heart, in this energy of nurturing and family. And, so a lot of times in July, when the sun is in Cancer, we spend a lot of time doing family reunions and things like that. But because it's in opposition to Pluto, it's like we get to see, you know, a similar energy to like full moon energy, but with Pluto. So the sun is reflecting off Pluto in a sense. And we're looking at this change and transformation that has happened in our lives over the last number of years. And we're starting to look at how that possibly has really benefited our family because we've had more time with them, or it's shifted the dynamics in family. It's, you know, changed our connections with family. And in some ways, I hope that with all of the turmoil that we've all been going through in life over the last couple of years, I really and sincerely hope that people can see some benefit from it, or have been able to make some benefit of it, you know, been able to plant some seed that's grown into something absolutely unexpected from it. So we're all going through this transit. We're all going through this reflecting period. And so it comes back to, well, how do you respond to yourself? How do you respond to that calling within your heart of what it wants to create in the world? And can we be sober to the fact that we actually have more time today than we do tomorrow? And so if we can apply our energy to that which we want to create today, we'll get a lot closer to it, rather than if we just push it off and set these, you know, parameters around it actually coming to be. So we're doing some serious work today, and I hope it creates blessings for you. The ultimate outcome that we have for today is the Three of Pentacles. So we have a lot of earth energy coming in today. The Three of Pentacles is all about the master craftsman and applying ourselves to that which we want to create, applying ourselves to that which we believe, applying ourselves to that which we value, and being like having a very high level of quality in doing it, and almost doing it in a way that sets an example for others to apply themselves in that way too. In that way, you're the master craftsman. You have a vision, and you're applying yourself to create that vision. And by creating that vision, it inspires other people to do the same. Now, in my life, I'm working on a book, and I had a very beautiful conversation with someone yesterday that was absolutely unexpected because it was a customer service rep of a credit card company. And we had a beautiful conversation about life and chaos of life, and how it brings us to a point where we actually are able to do what we feel called to do. And that chaos is actually beautiful in a lot of ways because it stirs us up to actually bring things to the surface and see things with clarity and know how to apply ourselves, because we can see it clearly now, because the storm has washed away all this other stuff, and it's also brought a lot of other things up to the surface. So for me, it was, you know, realizing that people want me to do this thing that I feel called to do, just like I want you to do that thing that you feel called to do. And I encourage you to put a wish out into the world and into the sky around that, you know, and trust that possibility exists for it to come into form. And what I like to do when I'm in this place of having a really clear vision of what I feel and see needs to be manifest, but I don't know how exactly I'm going to do it, is I say a prayer around it, similar to this. You know, I feel so called to create X, you know, X, fill in the blank. And I feel it so strongly in my heart, and I just don't know exactly how this is going to come to be. And so I give it to you, universe. And I trust that everything will align in such a way that this vision that I feel so strong about is able to come into form. And I look forward to seeing how it comes into form. And I trust the process. And when I've done that, granted, help can show up in a lot of intense ways, and it can stir the pot so much that everything that you've ever known is like swept from underneath your feet. But then something comes in, And that is where the universe sweeps things that aren't useful for us anymore out of our lives so that we can create this space to actually put our energy and effort toward what we feel called to do. And that's a huge blessing, even though it can be difficult to work through it. So I wish you well in manifesting today and manifesting that vision that you feel so called to create. And I look forward to seeing what you create, and I support you and encourage you to make effort toward that. And I send you a good wish. If you are interested in a reading from me, a tarot reading, or looking at your astrology transits, or getting a channeled blend, I offer those. And I also make dream catchers and orbs and sun catchers so that we can spread some more light throughout the world. Each one of them has an intention and a prayer connected to it. So if you'd like to see some of those that I've created, check out my gallery of orbs at rootsofalchemy.com. And if you'd like to reach out to me and schedule some time, I do offer sliding scale. You can reach me at rootsofalchemy@gmail.com. I send you a good wish, and I'll see you again tomorrow. So much love. Mwah.